Congressman John Larson is a Democrat from Connecticut. And Congressman, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Richard.
Let's start with, obviously, the Occupy Wall Street movement. We'll get to jobs in just a second. For those folks across the country who still don't understand that message, how would you define it?
Well, listen, I define it as I said at the outset, that, look, this is the frustration that people have with their own government. And they have it primarily because of government's inability to act. A perfect example of which took place this week, Richard. No third grader across this country, when they hear that a bill that is supported by 75% of the country, the president's jobs bill, gets a vote in the Senate, and the vote is 51-49, and it loses, understands that. And to explain it by saying, well, that's a cloture vote, they go, what is cloture, and what does that have to do with the Constitution? Well, it doesn't have anything to do with the Constitution. It has everything to do with Senate rules and everything that's inside the Beltway, and what is frustrating people and why that they're taking to the streets. And Richard, at the same time that they're doing that, the Senate does pass a China currency bill that levels the playing field, and economists say would put 1 million people back to work, and that's being held up in the House of Representatives. So two things that could be voted on when people are demanding the simple dignity that comes from a job, and the 14 million that are out of work and 25 million that are underemployed want to see.
And Congressman, evidently that message is resonating well. There's a Time magazine poll that shows this. It shows that 54% in the poll who responded to it have seen this as favorable, the Occupy Wall Street movement so far. Now look at that number there. I don't know if you can see this, but when it comes to the Tea Party, it is half of that. So should Tea Partiers be concerned now? Occupy Wall Street certainly grabbing the interest of these poll respondents.
Well, I don't think it's really about the Tea Party or the Wall Street movement. Both represent what is fundamentally American. They are frustrated and they are speaking out. But I will say this, one of my constituents wrote me, Richard, and I think this captures the feeling out there of frustration. She said in her letter, I hope Congress understands the dark abyss of uncertainty that all of us are going through. Our mortgages are underwater. We're being squeezed in the middle class. We can't afford to send our kids to college.
And I guess
our college graduates don't know whether there's a job there.
We'll see whether this resonates with the important voting group. That's independents, obviously. I'm going to finish talking about the jobs bill. Obviously, it is dead at this moment. And you'll have to look at each and every part of it. What part would you be willing to let go?
Well, I'm not willing to say that it's completely dead yet, and I think there is an opportunity within the super committee, and I hope that the Senate, I think this is a matter that's worth filibustering. I think it's about time that we stood up for something, and certainly to create 1.9 million jobs is vitally important.
So you're going to fight for all the parts, is what you're saying. You're going to fight for all the parts.
Exactly. We should fight for all the parts. But if the only thing the Senate can do is send us over piece by piece, obviously infrastructure is the most important issue from my perspective, to make sure that we're able to put people back to work immediately, especially in the trades, to get them out there with roads. We have the bill contains specific pieces as it relates to teachers, for God's sake, in this day and age when we're competing globally and internationally. To hamstring our students makes no sense whatsoever. This is a time when we want to make sure we're giving them better education, not a lesser education. The same thing is true for our firefighters and police, etc. But putting the country back to work, we've got roads, we've got bridges, we've got infrastructure. And Richard, the sad thing, I guess the frustrating thing for me, and I think a lot of members here, is that we have an opportunity currently to do something that's big, that's bold, and that's balanced on behalf of the country, and lead the world once again, as we should be, as the preeminent military, cultural, social, and economic leader in the world. And we can do this.
And so many congressmen do want to see Congress work together to get that done, get something done for the ends that you just described. Thank you so much. As always, a real pleasure.
Richard, always a pleasure to talk to you.